What's up, Blazies? It's Casey Ariel, founder of Blaze Group and your host of Blaze Group Radio. I will be talking about the intersections of Black womanhood, entrepreneurship, news on the culture, and healing as we climb. I launched Blaze Group after spending a decade in corporate America structuring multi-billion-dollar loans for large tech firms, but never once working on a deal team with another Black woman. I left to take world-class knowledge to the streets. Blaze means building leaders and accepting zero excuses, and we go beyond the bare minimum. More than solutions, we create lifelines that help Black women become as limitless as they feel. Snuggle up to this episode. May it feel as safe and nourishing as Big Mama's house did. What's up, Blazies? It is Tuesday, February the 6th. I hope that you are feeling well rested, clear about what you want to get done today, and okay shifting some things to the bottom half of the week if that's what it takes to be okay. I hope you're grounded in gratitude, that your lungs keep on moving air through your body, that the ground still holds you up. I am sitting in a lot of gratitude in that I turned 34 next Tuesday in 7 days. And what a year it has been. I have grown in ways that I didn't even know to ask for. I have stepped through some of the hardest seasons in entrepreneurship, which healed and matured some parts of me that I did not expect to need to delve into so soon, particularly around understanding that I don't need to put more on my back as I climb this mountain than I need to. That everyone has their own journey and they make decisions every single day about what they're willing to and not willing to toil with to get to the other side of their own healing, and that it is okay for me to allow folk to go through their own journeys and not put extra weight on my back because I'm trying to save an old version of myself. Deep things, beautiful things that usher me into new realms of freedom. When we ask for freedom, and it shows up and we see the cost of that freedom, it can startle us. It can make us even question if we are made for that level of freedom and ascension. But happy journeying. Today, I want to give a few tips around crowdfunding because it is pretty choppy in the markets. And what do I mean by that? That's another banking term that we would say pretty often. But what it means is it's a hard time to raise money. Okay. There are a lot of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that have dried up. And so banks and financial institutions and philanthropic arms that were pushing a lot of money, millions and billions of dollars into the market to advance equity, right? Whether it be through grants or venture capital or commitments to buy from diverse suppliers, which would give Black and brown and indigenous businesses revenue where they wouldn't have otherwise had it, whatever, right? They are drying up and reneging on those promises. And so it's just a really hard time to find capital for your business outside of revenue today. And even on the revenue side, inflation is so crushing right now that folks, 85% of folks last year switched to alternative brands. What does that mean? Like, that means that they were not brand loyal last year. Most folk weren't brand loyal and they went to the alternative option, the cheaper option, right? And so crowdfunding is an avenue that I would love for more and more people to get comfortable in testing out to fund their projects, so that you have an alternative means to revenue for capitalizing your business. And I say projects instead of funding your business on purpose, because it is very important with crowdfunding to tie your raise to a particular project that will help you move forward. Throwing money at this big pie in the sky dream will not get you investors, right? Or donors, right? Maybe your cousins them. But it would be too abstract to really rally people around understanding how you are going to get ROI from their dollar that they're giving to you. So I'm going to give you a few tips. Paper and pen if you want, or just subscribe to the show, right? Come back and listen to this again and again. Either way. But just know that it does take strategy, okay? You want to, number one, understand that crowdfunding is typically a digital means of getting money, right? Like, you cannot walk into a brick and mortar institution and say, hey, I want to crowdfund today. You will need to use tech. And so getting comfortable with that is very important, right? And having a stomach for trusting what's about to happen is important. It is very similar to GoFundMe, right? We often see folks raising money for charity or funerals or different things like that, like unexpected events that come up. And that's exactly what crowdfunding is. And I'll say GoFundMe was actually created for small business initially. It's just that, personal use has taken the front seat, which is very interesting, super interesting. But crowdfunding is using a digital application, a web-based application, to source money from folks in your community. Okay, that's all it is. Some of the advantages are that you don't have to go through an application process typically to be able to raise funds, right? There are looser terms. You can raise money for whatever you want to raise money for, more or less, right? And you can get that money pretty quickly. It will depend a lot on your marketing efforts, right? Your outreach efforts, your ability to tell a compelling story, right? But once folks decide it's a yes, 30 people can fund your vision and you're done. Right? So that's what crowdfunding is. I would say that it's nice in that you don't necessarily have to give up equity. In many cases, you don't have to pay anything back. In some cases, you do, right? In some cases, you do have to pay it back, but there are options for paying it back without interest. So let's get into some tips, okay? Number one, please plan. Like, just use the Blaze Group app, for instance. Shout out to everybody in the Blaze Knowledge Academy inside of the Blaze Group app. There's a template where we give you a crowdfunding planner, as a matter of fact. You don't have to use our template. I'm just throwing it out there if you're already in the community. But plan it out, right? Like, phase out the months and what you're going to do in each month. Phase out when you actually need to utilize this money so that you make sure you start crowdfunding early enough to have the funds that you need. My crowdfunding campaign that I ran some years back was related to the State of Black Women-Owned Business Report. Notice that as a particular project in my business, I was not saying, give me some money for Blaze. That is so abstract. That is not compelling, right? I wanted to launch the State of Black Women-Owned Business Report. I wanted to use the money to be able to hire a fellow, a college student, and pour back into my community, right? So that we could together collect the data, right? Launch this report, and this report would be in rooms where Black people are not, where Black women are not, right? I was able to tell and craft that story. I successfully raised money for the launch of the State of Black Women-Owned Business Report in time for the data collection and the launch that I wanted to happen, right? And I was able to give that fellow $1,000 in the form of a scholarship. And she went on to go to the London School of Economics, right? So plan. Okay. You want to list out all of the people that you want to reach out to. Don't just launch the campaign and think that the people will come. They won't. Okay. So a good thing to do is list out all of your classmates that you still keep in touch with. List out all of your friends. List out the family members that you still keep in touch with. List out folks that are on your Instagram that you're still connected with, your LinkedIn that you're still connected with, your colleagues or ex-colleagues that you're still connected with. Use a planner. You can make your own. Again, there's a planner in the app, the Blaze Group app, where you list out their names and you list out their mode of contact, list out the email address, list out the Instagram URL. So when it's time to copy paste that invite message, you can just go down the list to every contact mode and shoot it out at the same time. And then in 2 weeks, when you want to send your reminder, shoot it out at the same time, having already clicked off who's already donated, right? You want to plan in that way because the success hinges on your outreach and your marketing, right? Inside of the campaign, a few things that you want to have on this webpage. It's always nice to have a video, right? A pitch video, right? So a 1 minute video of you telling your story, right? You telling why you're doing what you're doing. 1 minute, because people don't, I promise, want to indulge in your pitch for a very long time. But having that on deck is just very important. And so craft a 1 minute video. Shout out to those in the Blaze Knowledge Academy. We actually have a pitch video script template in there, right? Making it very easy to pull this stuff off of the shelf, but you can make your own, but just have one, right? And the body of the message, make sure that you are very clearly talking about the impact that what you're doing is going to make. If it is to help you pay the security deposit on your first leased commercial space, right? Talk about the jobs that you are creating, right? Talk about the commitment around who you're going to hire. Is it that you're making sure you hired returning citizens from the penal system? Whatever, right? But craft the story and craft the impact. Make sure that the impact is bulleted clearly so that people really feel something. And it should be specific. If it is the least, say the least. Not, help me launch my business. That is not compelling, right? What part, what project, what tangible thing are you going to be able to do? And then when people see that it happens, they know that we're specifically a part of that, right? And on the back end, I would say you want to make sure that you, if at all possible, okay, because things do happen, but do what you said you're going to do. Again, this is not you raising money to launch your business. That is so abstract that it is not compelling. But if you said that you want to hire a fellow, right, and in 3 months, give them an experience that transforms their trajectory while you build a report that impacts the trajectory of thousands of others, right? Work on that, right? Build that, show that behind the scenes, because people are going to be following you and seeing what happened, right? They care about, just like when they're raising money for the Little League, we care about whether they won the game when we sent them to Orlando. And if they didn't win, what happened? Let me see some pictures, right? Do what you said you're going to do. It does not need to be perfect, right? But really show that story. Why? Because those people, I promise you, are going to become your customers, your advocates, repeat donors and funders and lenders to you. They're going to speak your name in rooms that you're not in, and they're going to have something very tangible to say about your climb. I hope this is helpful. Crowdfunding is a great way, a great alternative to fund your business. I am a firm believer that you should and can and should do multiple things at one time. So if you're crowdfunding, I'm not saying you can't pull from your savings. If you're pulling from your savings and crowdfunding, I'm not saying that you can't get 30-day advances from Bill.com on your invoices, right? So you can get your liquidity a little faster than your client will pay, whatever, right? But alternative funds or alternative sources of funds is always important, and particularly important right now where people's commitments to Black women are drying up. Be well, love and light. Thank you so much for tuning in to Blaze Group Radio. Remember, you have not yet met all of the people in your life who are going to love you, so keep going. Download the Blaze Group app for day-to-day support on your entrepreneurial journey. Until next time.